Yo, yo, yo. All right, let me get the link. All right, I am only streaming this to YouTube right now. So if you're watching on YouTube, you want to join, ask me a business question or tell me about your business or whatever. Let's chat. Come on in. I've got a couple people coming in, but sometimes they're late, sometimes they flake. And I would love to have you from YouTube if that be the case. Where are my people? All right, these are the questions we have up on tap. Dad has one of the biggest honeybee farms in Arkansas, but it's just a hobby. He sells the honey in hives once a year. How would you make this a bigger business? That's a great question. William wants to ask advice for selling Moto Compacto scooters to kids on campus / partnering with someone. This is a cool little motorcycle put out by Honda. Iman asks, how can I make money online? I know the popular options like drop shipping, etc. I just wanted to see if you knew something niche. Craig says ideas for a retired judge dad, things he's done. Gave legal advice in local paper, taught political science or basic law at community college and speaking events. And then Daryl, need help with a business idea around music curation and a podcast. I'm trying to serve two customers simultaneously, music fans and artists. All right. That's what we got on top. Where is everyone? Where is my guest? If you're one of 8,000 people watching this on YouTube right now, hop on in. I'm lonely. Look at me. I'm all alone. My family isn't even here. I think they went to Barnes & Noble or something. All right, we've got someone joining. He's going to ask me about a motorcycle business. Don't leave. I'm already insecure enough. Come on. Come on. Mm-mm. Where are you, Will? Mm-mm. It's a slow Friday. To the 4 people here on YouTube, I love you. Thank you for watching. Not much to watch right now, but I've got someone coming in. I have had 2 questions already, but the streaming software wasn't working. I talked to a guy that has a video production business in Miami, and he wanted to know how to grow. And then I talked to a guy that has a lead generation service for mortgage brokers, and he's doing like 300-400 grand per month generating mortgage leads. And he wanted to know how can I sell these leads again or even more? Or how can I monetize them myself? So pretty interesting. It'll be live in a couple weeks. Thank you, Aaron. I see your message here. You the man. Just waiting on Will. He wants to ask. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. How about that? Let's do this. All right. I'm sharing my screen. So the next caller wants to ask about these little compact electric scooter motorcycles. And he's joining right now. Perfect timing. Will.
Hey, Chris.
How we doing?
Doing all right.
Good.
I guess first thing, is it okay if I stay anonymous or off camera?
No problem. Absolutely. I'm sharing my screen of these motorcycles right now. So tell me what you have in mind.
All right. So from that first text message, which was like a 11:30 a.m. 45-minute search, 11:30 at night, like right before bed. Um, the idea was real raw. It was just like, oh, these are cool, right? Like I like them, and then I went on Facebook.
You're breaking up, Will. I'm losing you. I cannot hear Will. There you are. Are you there?
Hang on.
Are you there? I can hear you now.
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just it keeps going in and out of my headphones, and I don't want that to be the case when you're on the call. Um, anyway, I was long story short is I was trying, and I'll explain it better on the call. Is I was trying to put put it together as a package idea. Like, is there a the first question is there a market for this? Is it addressable in any way that there's going to be somebody who wants to pay way more than they could have if they just did this themselves? Like they could go buy it for
Mm-hmm.
1,000, pay maybe 1,100 with tax, pay 150 for a wrap, and then do it themselves. I think I need to charge around 2,000 for this to make sense. Um, so I'm thinking like the only person that's going to be my customer is someone who doesn't want it for the reason of a scooter, right? They can go get it themselves. Even someone who
Mm-hmm.
wants to get a scooter and customize it because they could do it themselves. My customer has to be someone who it sees it because it's flashy, it's new, and they can stand out, and it's not out there yet, and they don't care about the money. Maybe they're a affluent student, college kid of affluent parents or something like that. Like somebody who's just gonna see it and be like, yeah, I want that, and I want my school's name on it or something like that.
Mm-hmm. So
I
let's
don't know
back
if
up real
that's a
quick.
market.
Let's back up. Tell me exactly what you think the business is. So do you want to resell these? Do you want to wrap them?
Yeah,
Because I'm not quite sure.
it's basically like putting the two um, steps together of buying it, sourcing it, and then getting it wrapped, customized in a special way. Putting that together as one product. So basically, just a website. There's a one I want to mimic already that sells these wraps. I can give it to you. I don't know if we want to put it on the show or not because I don't know if we want to give it away or not. I've
I
talked
think
to
it's
him and had
okay.
him. I
I think it's
talked to him
okay.
and had him do a. Okay, it's the OCD plug. It's a weird purplish website, and they do all kinds of like car decals and accessories out of Houston. OCD plug
Okay.
.com. It's a
Yep.
Shopify
And so
website.
okay, so you talk to these guys and what?
So scroll down just a bit, and you'll see Moto Compacto skins or vinyls, and it's a whole section, a whole page.
All right, let me share that. All right, Moto Compacto vinyls.
Yeah, a little bit further up uh, from the home page, it should be. You'll see the. Well, click the. Yeah, right there. View all.
This video here.
No. You just passed it. Go down a little bit. You'll see the
Oh, okay. Yeah,
scooter.
yeah.
right there.
Okay, so
And view
$100.
all.
Okay, view
Right.
all.
And so basically, I wanted like a site with a page, or I'm thinking a site, a page without that video, but scroll down and you'll see all the options. Something just like that with some pre-made ones. And then
Mm-hmm.
the question I have, which is what also kind of scared me, is licensing for sports teams or
Mm-hmm.
universities or colleges. Like, I don't want to do that. Obviously, that
Mm-hmm.
won't make it profitable. And I think that's why he has none of those. And maybe he has. If you see one, there's a customized one.
Mm-hmm.
It's just blank, and basically you can send a high resolution image, and and he can do it. And what I'll show you here is, I'm gonna text this to you, I guess, just because it's easier. Um, I had an idea for one because like I said, this came out because I really like it and I wanted to get one for myself.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I sent him a little picture, two pictures, had him collab it, and within a day or within a couple hours, he sent me back a proof. Um, and so you can get these custom made, right? So I'm thinking, like, I don't know if I want to advertise like Chicago Bulls on one and have it on the
Mm-hmm.
website and then get caught, or just say, we can customize it and do it from there and just have it on an order, like individually, not advertised.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I don't know if it makes it doesn't
No,
seem
no,
too
it does.
complicated, like sourcing the moto, putting them on, and shipping it out. Like,
It does make sense. Like I know what you're thinking. You're thinking like on the surface, like what value do I add? Like I'm not, you could buy these from
yeah,
Honda. You can buy, but like the value you add is the bundling and the packaging. Like millions of people do this in all types of industries. You're just taking X ingredient and Y
customizing it.
ingredient,
Yeah,
putting it together, removing the friction. There's asymmetric information. Like the vast majority of humans don't know either of these things exist. What I love about this idea is that it's so visual. Like
yeah,
it could go viral on social media.
that's what
It
I
could go
thought.
viral, yeah, on campus. Like, I went to Alabama. I'm just picturing on game day
Yep,
someone riding around in one of these with a big
100%.
Alabama
Yeah,
symbol on the site. Like that would turn so many heads. That would
yeah.
like
And that's the
you
that's the
yeah.
customer I gotta find. I think is someone who will pay that extra premium because it's a custom. They don't have to do any of the work themselves, and it's standing out, and they want to stand out. So maybe, like, I don't know, offering a little bit of a partnership or a rev share. Send a free one to a social media influencer that's in college and let them ride
Mm-hmm.
around their campus in it. Take some videos, use that as Facebook ads.
Exactly. Like,
Um,
yeah, I
try to see if it's a viral thing, and if not, I don't know, maybe normal ads will work.
so yeah, here's what I would do if I were you. I would for sure buy one because it's just a test. You could resell it, whatever. Um, Worry about licensing
Yep.
later. Okay, get like find a big campus. You've got a couple months to plan this out because school's out right now. Get it wrapped in like a really sexy wrap, and then find someone that you know or trust, like a friend of a friend. Let's say, and you just say, hey, like, I'm giving this to you. Like, I need it back. Like, I'm probably going to need it back. Depends on how this goes. But you can have free transportation basically. But I
Yeah.
want to do a couple things. You want to put some sort of a tracker inside the thing, and they sell these on Amazon. They're like $50, where it's not like an air tag. It's more specific. You want to be able to see where they're going all over campus, and like that has to be part of the deal. Like if you don't have class one day, like I would really like you. Maybe you pay him per mile or something to go ride this thing all over where the people are, right?
Yeah.
And then this device that you use in this app will track the map and then say, listen, every time someone asks you about it, I want you to pin your map. Like right on Google Maps, it's probably going to be a different map. You'll have to marry the data together. No big deal. I want you to pin it
Right.
so I can see what parts of campus are people asking about this. So you want to know where people are, and more specifically, where people are that are more likely to ask about it. Because maybe you ride it through the quad, but everyone's looking at their phone, and there's 10 times
Mm-hmm.
more people there, but they're looking at their phone. And maybe you ride it by the bar at 1 a.m. and there's a tenth of the people as on the quad, but they're much more likely to see it and comment on it.
Right.
And then you can give every person like an affiliate code. So like throw up a Shopify site, literally just sell these on your Shopify site, and have them each have like their own affiliate code to where they'll get $100 for everyone that they sell through them. And that could be the deal you set up with every single person that buys one. You sell one, you like literally do the Facebook method and just go to one campus and say, if I can't make it work on this campus, then I'm not going to try to make this work anymore. This has to be
Right.
somewhat, doable. Um,
Right. Yeah.
so like hit that campus hard and see how many you can sell, see what your margins are, see what you learn, see if your ambassadors are actually driving the thing around, and you'll be able to prove it with your device.
Hmm.
Um, and then see if like maybe it's not as unique as you think. Maybe it's more unique than you think. What do you think about that?
I like the optimism. I guess I just tend to err on the side of it's probably not gonna work. But I don't know. A lot of one thing I'd say is a lot of things I've learned from your content is like you don't know unless you try, and if you don't try, like then you really can't complain about anything. Um, so
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. It wasn't on
yeah.
my radar really until I just got interested in myself. There's other things on the radar, but I don't know. It's kind of interesting, and I thought this was a perfect platform to ask you for some
Yeah,
advice
I
on
mean,
it.
you could know if this will work by the end of the month, and
Yeah.
really you're only risking a few $100 because you could resell it, at a
Hmm.
slight loss if it doesn't. And,
Right. Yeah.
pull the wrap off and sell it. Um,
Yeah,
I
I was
love this
thinking if
idea.
I want to find out if they're removable because I could just pay a couple $100 for several different wraps, use the same moto, and do several different videos or send it to different people and use it
Hmm.
so it's different. Um, I don't know. There's a lot more to dig into, but no, yeah, this does make me a little bit more encouraged.
Yeah. So these cost $1,000. And is there like how long
Yeah.
does it take to get them?
So I did a little research on the sourcing part, and they're sold out of the parts departments out of Acura and and Honda
Hmm.
dealerships. And there's tons of those. And I called half a dozen of them. On average, they have at least 10 on hand. I have to find out like if it blew up and I needed to order 100, like
Hmm.
how that would work. But if it's slow moving around and it's just a couple sales every now and then, which is okay, like I could source them locally from dealers and just go pick them up, order the skin, and ship out within a week probably.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like, dude, please try this for me. Like, if you don't, I kind of want to. Don't tempt me. Because I think there's something here.
Yeah, it's interesting and it's novel, I think, and it may be even more novel. And yeah, the viral aspect kind of gives it a lot of asymmetrical upside. So I want to see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love the idea, man. Let me know how it goes.
Sweet. Thank you so much for this. I appreciate everything you do.
Yep. No problem. See ya.
All right.
Bye. How's it going, man? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, sir?
Good. Let's hear your idea.
I actually don't have an idea. I just had a
Your
question for you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So I'm 17 and like none of my family members are like entrepreneurs. And I actually like wanted to do something like in that path and like I obviously know like the big options like Amazon FBA, drop shipping, day trading, whatever. But I just wanted to like pick your mind on like what's like something I can do that like a majority of people don't do
Mm-hmm.
like in like my summertime.
Okay. Yeah. Lots of ideas. So first of all, I don't come from entrepreneurs either, so I wouldn't let that deter you. That shouldn't even be like on your radar, right? Doesn't matter.
Okay.
The only thing that matters is not even that you're entrepreneurial. What matters is that you have a desire to be entrepreneurial. Um, if you have a desire, then it will come, right? Then you're going to do something about it, and then you'll learn entrepreneurial skills, and then one day you'll wake up and you will be entrepreneurial. So, with regards to day trading, drop shipping, etc., I would I would find all these things that the gurus on Instagram are selling, and like that should be your sign to not do that thing.
Yeah.
You should not pay anyone a dollar, myself included, to start something or to have an idea. There are too many free things out there. If I were you, what I would do is I would go to Facebook Marketplace and find something, just one thing to start to flip. And I would start by doing a lot of research. So I'm going to talk about this in a couple weeks on a podcast I just recorded, but what is your budget? Like if you were to buy something to flip right now, what is your budget today?
Right now, I work a part-time job, so I have about like 4,000 or 5,000 saved up.
Oh, cool.
So, I mean, I can work with that.
Okay, yeah. So I would take, $500 to $1,000 that you're willing to risk. And it's not a big risk because you're going to hopefully buy it right and you'll be able to resell it. I would go to Facebook Marketplace and let the algorithm just kind of show you what's going on. Like let the algorithm lead you because it's going to show you what's popular by default. And so I would find 2 or 3 cities that are comparable to yours. Let's say your city has 20,000 people. Find a few other cities in the same state that have 20,000-ish people, similar crime demographics, similar income demographics, and start doing daily research on Facebook Marketplace as to what is selling and how fast it's selling. So let's just say refrigerators, okay? Get a good feel for how fast they're selling by messaging people selling refrigerators every day. Like as soon as one goes live, set up alerts, message them and say, hey, would you take this? If it's listed for 200, would you take 100? And just start getting a feel because you're going to find 1 or 2 of these markets where people aren't responding, which probably means that they don't need to sell it to you, which probably means that there's more demand than supply. You're also going to find you're going to find markets where people are more desperate. I'm like, yeah, I'll take $100. Okay, there's probably more supply than demand. So do this research enough with 1 or 2 specific items until you really have a good feel for your state. Where does the market stand on these types of items? And then bring that.
I live in the same state as you, Texas.
Oh, okay.
I live in
Yeah.
the Allen area.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. So then take that research back to your own area and apply it. Once you know what the baseline is, then you're going to learn what's in demand. And now at this point, you're going to know a ton of stuff. You're going to know what you could buy it for, what you could sell it for, if it's in demand or not. And then just use that data to try to buy something as cheaply as you can, as quickly after they list it as possible. So, bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush. So you're going to message someone that lists, let's say they list a fridge for $200 and you could sell it quickly for $300. You're going to say, hey, can I come get this today for $100? And some people, if they value their time, are going to be like, you know what? Yeah, because I'm just going to go through 20 tire kickers. And some people, if they're not in a rush to sell it, are going to say, no, it's $200. I'm going to wait to see how this plays out. It's just a numbers game. Find someone that values their time and just wants to get rid of it, and then resell it. Maybe you resell it for only $150 and it doesn't sell for $300. Maybe you sell it for $350. But either way, like it's not like this isn't the end game. This isn't the thing. This is going to teach you all of those principles that you'll need to do the end game, right? That's like people want to start a business and they overlook just buying and selling things, which that is business, right? It's like a hater would say, well, that's not a business, but no, it is. I'm buying something for $1 and I'm selling it for $2. So I would look past all the flashy stuff and just try to do that. And then that will also kind of start rewiring your brain to look at opportunity in everything. And then you'll have too many ideas.
Yeah. And you're just talking about like, don't pay a penny to like other people out. Unfortunately, I learned from experience. Like I paid a guy like monthly for like day trading and stuff, and I learned the hard way. But I mean, now I know not to do that again.
Yeah, that's just like tuition. You just learned a lesson, and it's usually a lot more expensive than that. So
yeah. And like, how do you manage your time to like stay productive while balancing like different projects?
I just take on too many projects. I take on too many projects, and then the ones that are the most promising or the most important float to the top, and I put my time and energy and resources towards that. And the ones that are less important, they just kind of fall away. So, some people think you need to manage your time by doing less things. I think it's the opposite. You need to put more on your plate, and then magically your plate seemingly becomes bigger, and you're able to manage more and more, which is why they say if you need something done, give the task to a busy person, because they've learned through experience how to manage their time better.
Okay, last question. How do you like manage your like failures and like your losses?
I just convert them to chips on shoulders. My
Okay.
failures just drive me forward, and I remember them, and I think back to those people that might have cheated me or said something negative, and I just use that to drive me.
Okay. And I kind of remember something. Like my dad has like a trucking business. He's like a owner operator. Like
Hmm.
I actually don't know anything about it. Like, do you know anything about that? Like how we can scale that? I'm not sure if you know anything.
No, I don't know a lot about that business.
Okay.
That's a good question. Yeah.
All right, that's all I needed. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time.
No problem, man. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Bye. All right. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for joining me. Let's go back to the comments. So some kind people in here. Aaron, Babasola, 5-2 Picker. Thank you. The Anime Prime says, how do you research to know if a business is viable to start? What checklist do you mark before considering a business? I'm so glad you asked me that. One might think you're an audience plant because I'm doing this here on YouTube Live on this Wednesday, July 10th Tuesday, July 9th at 12 p.m. Central Time. It's scheduled. Put in your calendar. I'm live streaming only to YouTube, 12 p.m. It's not going to be like a normal podcast like you're watching now. It's just going to be a YouTube live stream. I'm going to share my screen, and if you're on my newsletter, I'm going to send out a poll today of like 5 to 10 home service business ideas, and then people are going to vote, and they're going to say, I want to see you validate this one live. And I will. So I'm not choosing this. You guys are choosing it. And then I will hop on YouTube Live and share my screen. And it'll probably take 2 hours. And I'll just walk through everything. No holds barred. There's no course to sell. There's no pitch. There's no masterclass. I just want to show you how to validate a business idea to de-risk yourself before starting it. So this Tuesday, July 9th at 12 p.m. Central. And I have Chad waiting in the lobby. And I will get back to the YouTube comments after. Chad.
Chris.
Chad. Hey, how are you?
Good, man. Thanks so much for taking my call.
Absolutely. Were you on the schedule today, or did you just hop in from YouTube?
I was on the schedule today, but hey, does it work?
Yeah, it works. Absolutely. Oh, okay. I see you. Okay. Yeah. Retired Judge Dad, right?
You got it. That's me.
Okay. Let's hear about your dad and what he has done and what he wants to do.
Yep. Real quick, he has been a judge for a couple decades, did a great job, man of integrity, well liked by his community, is in his twilight years. He's retired now in his 70s, early 70s, is thinking about ways that he could make money. But typically what a lot of judges do when they retire is they'll do something like mediation. He's not in, he doesn't really want to do that. And so he was talking to me the other day. We started brainstorming. I love listening to your podcast. I love getting into the ideas like you do. And I thought, man, I'm gonna ask the man himself, the corner office, and see if you had any ideas for us. We've talked about all kinds of different things. I feel like you have done a good job of kind of building an online reputation that people trust, that people trust for value and to add value to whatever it is that they're doing. And I feel like my dad might be able to do something like that, but online courses or online counseling, legal counseling, anyway, just trying to brainstorm as many ideas as we can for his retirement years, ways that he can leverage his experience and his integrity and experience, that sort of stuff. So
would you say he's an introvert or an extrovert?
Extrovert.
Okay, that makes sense. And how old is he, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I think he's 71.
Okay. I don't like the course idea or like the online mediation idea, just because like it is such a grind to build a presence online, you know? It's such a grind.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and I don't know, he might like that, but starting from scratch, doing that, like, it's just tough. You know, it's tough. It took Mr. Beast years to even get on the map, and he's an entertainer. That's I mean, that's an outlier example, but I'm just wondering what does he like to do? What are his hobbies? Like, forget his profession. What does he like to do outside of his profession?
He loves sports and things like that. But it sounds like you're thinking maybe don't leverage so much of his work experience. Maybe think and you're saying that to develop the online persona, to develop that online kind of trusted personality type through X or whatever, that's just going to take too much time.
Yeah, I mean, because he already built up all these relationships in person, and then he's going to take his experience and leverage that, but he's going to almost start from scratch by building an online presence. Now, you could say, well, you know, he could go on Facebook and ask his in-person friends to support him online, but that just doesn't convert very well. You can't count on that. And so sense. It's like you're only able to leverage your experience, but not your relationships. You're starting from scratch. Now, of course, you could scale it more when you're online. But I mean, I don't know. That should mean something coming from me, because that's what I do. And I'm like, I kind of fell into it, but it's a grind. Like, I think if you re-roll my life 10 times, I'm not putting out content online 8 out of 10 times. Because I'm an introvert.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Okay. Let me throw out another idea that we've been throwing around. He wrote a number of articles kind of in the advice column genre for local newspapers and things like that, where it was like, ask the judge, you know, like you ask a legal question and then he responds to that. Is there a way to like monetize something like that, or to develop some sort of a newsletter? Is that kind of the same vein though? Like, it's just going to take too much time, too much effort for something like that.
What about just like writing a book, like a traditional book of everything he learned?
Ooh, yeah. Like just his experiences.
Yeah. Like an ebook / audiobook / physical book. Does he have like notes from all of his cases? Like, did he keep a journal or any sort of record?
Yeah. He loves, that's a really interesting idea. He loves to get my kids around the table and tell them some of his more interesting, exciting, you know, cases that he's had over the course of his legal career. So
yeah,
that's a good idea.
Yeah. Like I mean, here's what he could do. He could take all of his cases and upload them to AI, to ChatGPT or Claude or whatever. And you could just start this with 1 or like 5 cases, and then say, hey, based on what you're learning, which of these cases are the most salacious, right? Like, for instance, I did this research once, and I was trying to learn what types of articles go viral, which you could call that being salacious. And it was very clear, like the most like viral type of news article is sadly about a child dying.
Oh, wow.
Okay. It's depressing, right? But it's like people dying, that makes the news, but a child, like an innocent child dying, it gets all the clicks, all the views, right? And so my point is that ChatGPT already knows that. And ChatGPT could take that knowledge and marry it to your dad's cases. And you can say, all right, here's 5 cases. I think they're interesting. Based on what you know, what is the most interesting? And then like you could write a whole book about that one case, or you could say, give me all of my petty theft cases and aggregate them together and find me the most interesting parts from these cases. And ChatGPT will be able to find all types of random things that you might not find interesting, but that are interesting to people. And then you take the things that are interesting to your dad, interesting to ChatGPT, or more have more viral potential, and then like put it in like a Venn diagram, and wherever that overlap is, that's what he could write his book on. And his book could also be a YouTube channel, right? Like he could right now I'm streaming on YouTube Live, and there's a whopping 11 people watching. But hey, that's 11 more than 0, you know? And like he could kind of write this book in public, and which is contradicting what I said originally, but it's like 20% more work to potentially show it to the world. because he's doing this work anyway. Might as well hit record.
Yeah.
Right. And then
That's
he
super
has
helpful.
a legacy as well, right? Like,
Right.
so.
Yep. No, I love it. I love that idea. The creativity and the performer in him and the storyteller. Yeah. No, it's great.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well,
We'll
thanks.
run with it.
Yeah. I want to know how it goes.
Awesome. Chris, I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much for taking this.
No problem, man. We'll see you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. It's just me now. Just me and you 9. I have, I think just one more person coming in. Daryl. Matthew didn't show. Daryl needs help with a business idea around music curation and a podcast. He's not scheduled to come on for 7 more minutes. So if anyone on YouTube wants to come on, you're welcome. Let me get back to these questions first of all. Anyway, thank you, 52 Picker. Anime Prime says, how do you... Okay, I already answered that one. Aaron says, I would like to place a couple massage chairs at a local business to test the idea. What would be the best way to draft up a contract? What should the terms be, specifically liability-wise? Aaron, I talked about this in my tweet, and I meant it. This isn't just like tweet material. This is exactly what I would do. I would go to a direct competitor. I would pose as a potential customer. I would say, can I see your contract? I would get that, and I would use that as my starting point and then use ChatGPT to write it. This is not legal advice, yada, yada, yada. Find a lawyer. ChatGPT does not replace a lawyer. Terms and conditions, yada, yada, yada. Legitimately, that's exactly what I would do. Because we're just proving a concept here, right? You place a massage chair, you prove a concept, then you learn, wow, this is crushing it. Then you actually send that document to a lawyer, pay him $500 to pretty it up. Now you're in business. Most people just do way too much before they earn $1. You need to reverse that. So Tarun, yes, my camera is low quality. I don't know how to fix that. Something going on with the stream. I don't have good Wi-Fi. Energy levels at 70 for most people is low. Yep. Agreed. Baba Sola says, how do I get to... It's being blocked. How do you get to be scheduled? So if you want to ask me a question, here is the link to the form to ask me a question. I would send you right into the studio, but someone should be joining here soon. So you could submit your question there. What other questions we got? What made me my first big money? So depends on what you define as big money, but the business I started as a 23-year-old chain of iPhone repair stores, that made me a good living for a college student, low 6 figures, high 5 figures, depending on the year. But I was working full time in it. But then I sold it, and then I had to go through a lawsuit with the buyers and a lot of heartbreak, yada, yada, yada. I ended up getting a $300,000, give or take, check in the mail, like an actual check, cash. So big money for, I was like 26 at the time. Big money for a 26-year-old, not retirement money. My first big money came with my next business, LCD Cycle, where we sold iPhone parts. And we were doing almost 7 figures a year in net profit. We never hit 7 figures in profit. We never quite hit 8 figures in revenue. We were like 9 and change, and then like 800 and change of profit. But that business lasted for 7 years, and it paid well. It was a good business. And then I've had a business since then do even better. So yeah. Any other questions from YouTube? While I wait for Daryl. Just a reminder, Tuesday, July 9th, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, I will be live streaming basically how to not start a business, but how to validate or invalidate a business idea so you can de-risk before starting. That should be a fun time. A business around established thing would be nice. Not sure I know what you're saying. Yeah. If you want to join the studio, here is the link. Lawn care to a million. Thank you for your comment the other day, by the way, on my video. I remember that. What do I think about city food tours? I don't really like it. Because I've been a customer of that. I've done it. I went on a bus. We went and got chocolate and tacos all over Dallas. It was fun. I just think it's hard to compete there. I don't know. It seems operationally heavy. It seems paid ads heavy. You got to constantly pour money into marketing. There's not really a recurring aspect. People aren't going to do that more than once. What I do like, okay, I'm always going to try to give you both sides of the argument. What I do like about the idea is doing research, kind of like what I just counseled Imon to do. Let's say you're in Dallas. I would go do research in Houston, see how many food tours there are in Houston, call them all up, see how many answer their phone, see how many are booked. Pick like a date in the future, like not next week, but not next year. Let's call it 3 weeks from now, and ask all the food tours in that city if they have space for like 10 people, right? Like, I'm a group of 10. Do you have any space? Because if you just ask for one, then you're not going to get good data because most will probably have space for one. But you want to know how close they are to full on any given date or time. Take note of that data, and then you'll see how much demand there is in that area. And then you can keep doing more research, and that can lead your decision making. Because any business idea that I don't like works really well in a certain market or setting, or with a certain marketing channel or angle, or with the right influencer you partner with. There's a lot of variables at play, but like all else equal, gut check, I just don't really like that idea. I don't think it could be very high margin either, but I could be wrong on that. All right, B2B and B2C, which do you recommend? All else equal, B2B. They generally have more money. They're generally more recurring, but the trade-off is that they're harder to close, harder to sell to. But yeah. Side hustle idea. Luke, your name looks familiar. A lot of college campuses have an anonymous messaging app for students to share things on that only students have access to. Idea, telling businesses in the area that I want to help them advertise to college students, go from the angle that I'm a college student and I know how to get them in the door. Okay, so is that two different? All right, Luke, I'm going to get back to your question, but Daryl is waiting in the lobby, so I'll get right back to that. Daryl.
Hey, Chris, how's it going?
Good. How are you, man?
Doing well, doing well.
Random question. Where did you hear about me?
I think it had to be another podcast guest. I ended up like checking out one of their episodes on, and I guess searching in the Spotify algorithm for their podcast that they have been on, and I came across yours, and I love the way you go into a lot of the details of businesses and stuff, and I love the way your mind thinks. So
cool.
I was like, yeah,
Thank
I
you.
definitely want to reach out.
Appreciate that. Anyway, what I know about you is you've got a business idea around music curation and a podcast. So let's hear it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for taking the time to, speak to me today. Definitely looking at getting some feedback for my business idea. I've got a bunch of different things going on. Family, full-time job, the whole nine, a bunch of side hustles, print on demand, affiliate marketing, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to focus on this music-related project. I'm a Spotify playlist curator, and I had a playlist that blew up in the algorithm with like 30,000 followers.
Wow.
And, and was getting a lot of streams and traffic for artists that I put on the playlist. And that kind of inspired me to, explore more ways to monetize and just kind of expand my influence, within the music industry. Everybody loves music. So I'm trying to, I was like, okay, this could be cool. And it's something that I was just, it was one of my theme pages that I was just doing as a hobby, and it unexpectedly blew up. So like the business idea essentially revolves around like creating a hub for like music discovery and engagement around music. So I wanted to connect fans and artists, and then like the key components being podcasts, 2 newsletters, giveaways, and then artist services. So I kind of wanted to build all of that within to one business, and I'll just walk you through the elements. The podcast would be like interviewing influencers, musicians, athletes, so on and so forth, and even listeners of the podcast would have options and opportunities to be on it and be interviewed about music that's impactful and important to them, right? So each episode, 5 songs that are important to them and stories behind them. And then I put the podcast episode at the top of my playlist since I don't have access to the Spotify followers, which was one of the issues. And okay, the playlist took off, but what does that do for me? How can I monetize?
Right.
So, so then that's where, the giveaways and newsletter come in. So like the newsletter serves obviously regular updates for fans and, ways to stay in contact. And then I'm going to focus on positive news and not the gossip or drama that's news usually in like music and entertainment. I hate that part. It's not entertaining for me personally. And, and then there's tons of artists doing like remarkable things with their music and then, beyond the music and in creative things within the music. So I kind of want to focus on that in regards to the newsletter. Because those aren't the things they're going to see on social media, for the most part. Or at least not the most popular things. It's not salacious enough.
Yeah.
And then to drive engagement, I have monthly giveaways and things that music fans like: headphones, vinyl records, concert tickets, blah blah blah. And then to participate, fans they'd have to put their email in, and then they can get extra entries, by following social media pages, watching YouTube videos, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. So how would this start? Like, what would be this? There's a lot going on. So what would be like your entry point into this idea?
I'm thinking the podcast was my idea, like my main thing, because then that'll help me with social media content and things. But I don't think that like just starting a podcast is not remarkable enough, and then, it's you're a podcaster, so it's hard to get listeners to the podcast and things of that nature. So that's a whole different level. So I'm thinking like focusing on the giveaways and the newsletter in the beginning, because then that'll give me a way to focus on communications with the fans, which will then I can serve them the newsletter. I mean, the podcast through the newsletter and just different ways of communicating and contacting them.
Okay, so start with the newsletter, go from there. What is your plan to acquire newsletter subscribers?
Doing the giveaways.
Okay.
So running giveaways and then, and then maybe run ads to, targeted music fans with, hey, we're giving away this headphones, we're giving away this vinyl album or concert tickets, or like a Live Nation gift card or something like that, so that they can go and use that for whatever concert they may be interested in. So something of that nature is what I'm trying to figure out on how to build the email list, because I know that's really the foundation of any business. And with having all of, like, I've got, the page that's connected to it, I've got 20,000 followers on the Instagram page. I've got 30,000 on this particular Spotify playlist, but I've got multiple playlists with 1,000 followers here. But I have none of their contact information. So I'm like, okay, I need to focus on the email list, because without that, the business could just fall apart at any point.
Yeah. Okay. So top of funnel is a giveaway to get you email addresses, to get you to drive traffic to the podcast where you interview musicians, and then that kind of starts a flywheel that grows the whole thing. Is that accurate? Okay.
Right.
Is there someone is there a template that you're looking to for inspiration here? Like, or put more obviously, like someone that you could copy or that you are copying with this? Not that that's a bad thing. I love copying. But.
No, that's been part of the issue. It's like, I haven't really seen anybody doing it specifically in this way. But I guess it's just years of kind of doing stuff online. I'm kind of piecing different ideas and things together. I mean, I guess, let me see. No, not really.
Okay.
Not really. Not that I can think of. No.
Well, that scares me a little bit, just because I don't like being the pioneer.
Right.
I'd rather copy someone. So that about the idea scares me. The fact that it would be a long, long grind, speaking from personal experience, for this idea to give you a full-time income, that kind of makes me nervous. Have you done other entrepreneurial things in the past?
Yeah. I've built multiple theme pages. And like I said, just done print on demand and different little things online, but nothing significant. I've had a full-time job and haven't really had to, the job's taking good care of me, so I haven't really had to. But now, as my kids are getting older, I'm having a little more free time. I'm like, okay, I want to do something that fulfills me, but then can also make some money and it's worth my time.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And you love music, right? This is something you're passionate about. Okay. So with the context of that, you've got a job, you've done entrepreneurial stuff in the past. I assume you're not in a hurry.
No, no, I've already been doing this for the page has been around for a few years. Actually, close to 7 years or so. I've just been kind of posting here and there, never been consistent. And this is going to be the first time where I'm like, okay, let me figure out a way to really make something out of this.
What is the page?
It's just an Instagram page, Fresh Establishment.
Fresh
Establishment. Yeah.
I'm going to pull that up. Is the handle actually Fresh Establishment, or is it something different?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Curator. Okay. 21,000 people. Okay. Awesome. But you've never really been consistent.
No.
Looks like your last reel did really well, huh?
Yeah, I've had some that have done like 1 million views and stuff, but none of that, it's whatever to me. It's like, because none of that,
it's not leading to,
they don't pay bills.
Doesn't matter.
They don't.
Yeah,
exactly. And then, especially music. Well, people in general are fickle. So it's like, okay, how do I really build out this email list and build an actual relationship with real people? Something that's going to be, long lasting.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I missed that, but I love the fact that you already have an Instagram page to launch this off of. I think there's another idea. In fact, I know there is, because I have a good friend that did this idea. Have you ever thought of using your monetizing your playlist by charging artists to be included on it?
Yeah, and that's the issue. Like Spotify doesn't, Spotify frowns on that. So if somebody reports you, blah, blah, blah. Technically, you can get your playlist taken down, but there's tons of fake streams and botted playlists that get reported and never get taken down. So it's an imperfect system. But just on my own accord, I don't want to charge artists. What I have done in the past is I've charged them to be at the top of the playlist, just because at the same time, I don't want to just take money to be on the playlist, because then that deteriorates the quality of the music on it. Nobody, I don't want to just make it where anybody can just pay to be on my playlist.
Yeah.
So I've kind of shied away from that as far as monetization. I'm thinking of more so like charging artists to be on, participate in giveaways, maybe even to have one of the songs on the playlist. I mean, not on the playlist, but on the podcast, because Spotify is the only platform where you can incorporate actual music into the podcast. Other platforms don't allow you to incorporate music into it. So we could be talking about the song, blah, 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 and then cut to the song, and it's actually a part of the podcast, and it plays within it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was looking at doing that.
Yeah, I love this, because you've got a platform to launch off of. You have the podcast and you have the Instagram page. I think that giveaways work well. They work really well sometimes. They work less well other times. Yeah. I think for what you're doing, giveaways will work really, really well, especially like on Instagram. So I think that's smart. I like this idea. I think the hard part is you just got to get the podcast up to a point where you're getting enough downloads where you can actually charge for it. Right.
Yeah.
That's what takes forever. And, because I'm living it right now. It's tough.
Yeah, exactly. And I also don't really know if I want to do sponsorships. I want to try and figure out my own products and whatnot to put on my podcast, because then I'm, beholden to what they want me to say, what they want me to do. I may have brands that may want to come in and sponsor giveaways for the fans, and have that be a part of the podcast. Say, hey, they're sponsoring this giveaway and we're doing this, but not just sponsor for an ad on my playlist. I don't think I want to go that route.
Yeah. If I were you, I would try to interview kind of small to mid-level musicians that would agree to sharing it with their fans, sharing your podcast with their fans. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they're going to they want more exposure. And most people don't know how many downloads a podcast gets, because it's so new. It's just like, oh, I'm on a podcast. Okay, cool. And it's like, yeah, but
Right.
like the only thing I ask is that you share it with. I think that could be a good growth strategy.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been listening to another podcast that's focused on growing podcasts.
Okay.
So that's definitely, I've saved a couple of those episodes to go back and really figure out like what my full on podcasting strategy is going to be. Not just, you know, the actual format of the show, but pre and post marketing of each episode.
I like it. What's that podcast called?
Grow the Show.
Grow the Show. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think you're onto something. I would just advise you to be patient and just be patient. But if you love it and you don't have to monetize it immediately, then you're gonna have a great time and you're gonna win. It's just a matter of when.
And even with the playlist, I've already made some great contacts with the artists, and you know, hey, that may bode really beneficial for the podcast and guests that I can have on, because I've already, you know, been in the DMs with a lot of, you know, artists who've got good audiences, so that could be great.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
You gotta step up.
Yeah.
I like it.
Perfect.
Cool, man.
Any other monetization ideas? Because that's part of the thing, is like, if I'm not running ads and whatnot, because I also thought about doing a playlist newsletter where artists get one free, like, vetted playlist with all the contact details and everything a week, but that's the free tier. Then they can pay another yeah, and then I'll send them information on other playlist curators and stuff so that they can submit music to, not just to me, because there's many playlist curators out there, so it's almost promotion for curators as well. But they're paying for this service to get access to these playlists that don't have a bunch of fake listeners. But just I'm like, I've got to stop doing this by myself. I have all these ideas, but it's like, I don't see myself doing a podcast and doing that newsletter, plus doing a newsletter for the fans as well, and all of these different pieces, plus marketing it, plus keeping up the Instagram page. And then also I've got to let go of all these other side projects that I'm doing, because there's only so much time in a day.
I know. Yeah.
You know, so
I like that idea. And there's no rule that says you can't have a paid newsletter and charge playlists for insertion in your paid newsletter. Like, you could get paid from both sides of the marketplace.
Oh, that's true. So then they're also putting their music in front of other artists that they may want to collaborate with, versus not just in front of fans. So it could be kind of a twofold payment structure, like where they get it on both sides. So and then also just figuring out what the market's gonna tolerate as far as like prices. I have no clue. Yeah. So I mean, and you know, musicians are notorious for not having money or whatever, struggling artists and blah blah blah. But well, we'll see.
Did you hear my podcast episode a month or two ago with Nick, my business partner? I'm gonna send you a link to it here in Riverside. But it's called How to Skip the Line and Build a Business in a Week. And we talk about using artists to grow podcasts. We literally talked about this. I just sent you the link. Nice. Basically leveraging artists that are touring and having them mention the podcast from stage. Because if you can get like 50 to 100 people to subscribe on the same day, it'll put your podcast in like the top 10 rankings immediately. So you can literally ask an artist on stage to be like, hey man, just mention my podcast on stage, and they can pull out their phones right then and subscribe. And then that'll put you up in the rankings. And then that will give you an organic boost to even more subscribers.
Right. Or even, hey, put this link on the screen, QR code or something, and I'm putting your song at the top of my playlist also.
Exactly.
So it's kind of, we trade.
Yep.
I like that. Yeah, I see the message, so I'll go ahead and make sure I check out that episode.
That's cool. Yeah, man.
Thank you very much, man.
No problem. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Good luck to you as well.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right.
See ya. All right, I'm back on YouTube here. Let's wrap up these questions, and then I got to get something to eat. I'm starving. So let's go back to Luke. So we talked about an anonymous messaging app on campus. Tell them I have access to a platform with thousands of students on it, and that I'd be willing to share promotions / ads on it for a small fee, maybe $10 a post. Yeah, I definitely think that would work. the hard part is getting the students to use like a secret messaging app that they don't already use. Because if you find a campus that's already saturated with an app, it's going to be really, really hard to get the students to stop using that app. And also tell them that 200 people will see it. And even if 3 of those students make a purchase, they'll make their money back. Yep. All right. Tarun says monetizing something with thousands of users is the easiest thing. How do you get those thousands is the question. A top of funnel based on giveaway is just shouting for low quality leads. Monetizing something with thousands of users is not the easiest thing. I would definitely disagree with that. Speaking from personal experience, it's not easy. You've got to find product audience fit. What are they interested in? You can't just assume that they're going to buy what you're going to sell them. If you sell sponsorships, like, just to give you some perspective, let's say newsletter only. Let's say I have a newsletter with 10,000 subscribers daily. So it's a grind. We're talking 2 hours a day of work plus research time. So you could make on average 3,000 to 5,000 a month from that newsletter. But getting 10,000 newsletter subscribers is hard. So let's be more realistic and say you have 1,000. If you write that thing every single day, you're going to make $500 a month. That's not even enough to cover rent. So monetizing an audience is not as easy as it looks from the outside. If you have millions of people, that's one thing. What are some innovative side hustles that are not widely known but have good potential for success? I just answered that question. Kevin. Oh, what's up, Kevin? What am I most excited about right now? Kevin, I'm excited about what we spoke about on the phone 2-3 days ago. That agency idea that we talked about. The Instagram idea that we talked about. Those are literally the things that I'm most excited about right now. Tarun, why not make good content that will get your podcast on top organically? Yeah, it doesn't work like that. There's a lot of really, 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 really good content that doesn't get seen. If you build it, they will not necessarily come. You gotta promote it. Any other questions from my YouTube friends? I'll give it another minute, and then I'm going to go eat a sandwich. And there is a delay, so I'm not sure where everyone is right now. So if you're just now joining us on YouTube, I am doing a business ideation live stream on Tuesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. It'll probably last an hour and a half, 2 hours. Should be a good time. So come join us. And if there are no more questions on YouTube, we're going to wrap this up. So thank you all for joining. Appreciate the support, and we'll see you next time.